Hip-hop owes its beginnings to a particular place and a particular time. The place was the South Bronx, and the time was the 1970s. The South Bronx was a notorious borough of New York City, marked by some of the worst levels of unemployment, dereliction, and violent crime in America.
You had a lot of gang activity that was happening in the Bronx back in the late 60s, early 70s. You had a lot of drugs in the communities, a lot of violence and robberies, things that was going on. The Bronx was called one of the destructive areas of the time.
While life in the city had become tougher, mainstream black music in the 70s had softened into the ultimate form of crossover pop: disco. The generation growing up in the Bronx in the 70s found that music like disco was wildly out of step with the reality of their lives.
It was something that seemed very far away from what ghetto kid on the street could realistically hope to attain or to be a part of. That whole idea of the flashy, the gaudy, the costume, all that stuff was something that hip-hop reacted against.
I guess we wasn't enough high society to be down with the disco, John Travolta dancing and all that. You know what I'm saying? So we created our own, you know what I'm saying? We created our own parties.
Hip-hop's genesis can be traced to this inconspicuous housing project on the edge of the South Bronx. It was here that hip-hop's founding father, DJ Kool Herc, built his first sound system in 1971.
1520 Cedric Avenue, the historic birthland of the culture they call hip-hop music. My room in the back, and this was the landing. When I used to play music in my room, the kids used to be back here hanging out, chilling. And when I start to play the music, everybody start to do their little stuff and break dance and all that type of stuff right here. So there's a recreation room for the building. You rent the room. That's what we did. So this was a breath of fresh air for us, going somewhere we could hear some music. Turned out to be a success.
Herc was one of the first DJs in the Bronx to borrow a technique from Manhattan's downtown discotheques: the use of two turntables. This meant DJs could play music without interruption, mixing from the end of one record straight into the beginning of another. But unlike other DJs, Herc didn't play disco music. Instead, he specialized in the kind of hard-edged funk music that others ignored.
Yeah, I remember going to the Herc parties, and that started in the community room, and it grew so big that we couldn't fit in the community room anymore. And music was just, it was slamming. I was trying to think about what would be, I guess, synonymous with a Kool Herc party. And it would have to be James Brown. Clap your hands, stomp your feet. It wasn't a Kool Herc party. Without
have a very party here.
Exactly.
What singled out Herc as a DJ was his keen eye for crowd reaction. He noticed that the energy on the dance floor hit a peak during the instrumental breaks in the records, the point when the singing stops and the music carries on. From this simple observation, Herc came up with an idea that would become the basis of hip-hop.
One night, I'm waiting for the record to play out. I said, I wonder if I put that to myself. I said, if they're waiting for this particular break and I have a couple more records that's got the same breakup in it, I wonder how would it be if I put them all together. And I told them, I said, I'm going to try something new tonight. I'm going to call it a merry-go-round.
Herc's merry-go-round meant that instead of playing whole records, he would play just the instrumental breaks, mixing between them to create a continuous dance rhythm.
I started out with James Brown, clap your hand, stomp your feet. That part right there, when the break, boom, I had to come in with Bongo Rock. Bongo Rock was still no vocals in it, and I would go into Baby Huey.